If you thought that yet another round of Republican tax cuts for millionaires, billionaires, and corporations was going to like satiate them, don't even like have you been paying attention to American politics? Come on, they're gonna come up with something, and they have their next potential plan. Okay, you're starting to hear rumblings in a few different red states, including Florida and Ohio and some others. They haven't done it yet, but oh man, are they salivating for it? And that is just getting rid of property taxes. Just no more property taxes. Governor Ron DeSantis himself is pushing for this, saying, I think there's a philosophical debate that we need to have about property tax. This is supposed to be your private property, but yeah, you could own your home for 50 years and you still gotta pay the government just to live on your property. And like, I understand why you'd say something like that if you don't really think about it, or if you're super wealthy and you have gradually become accustomed to more and more of your tax burden being taken away and given to working class Americans. Then yeah, why do I have to pay property tax? And by the way, let me just say, I pay property tax. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. Do I like the idea that if I, stopped eating Pop-Tarts and lived another 50 years, I'd still be paying property tax? No. But do I know why I pay property tax? Yes. Because you're still taking something. You're not just living there by yourself. You're using the services of the town and the county and the state and the federal government. You have access to all of that, and that stuff ain't actually free. But think about it. If you could get rid of property taxes for a lot of wealthy people, that's pretty much it, man. They already don't effectively pay income tax because the tax that they pay on their investments, which is the vast majority of their income, is already far lower. Their corporations effectively pay no taxes. Almost all of that has been offloaded into consumption taxes, which predominantly hit poor working class and middle class Americans. The only thing you're still really contributing is your property tax. If they can get rid of that, then you have basically no skin in the game whatsoever. You have a lot of money, but no skin. It's a weird image when you think about it, but this is what they're working for. And it's not just him. Vivek Ramaswamy was saying, because he wants to be governor of Ohio. I mean, why not? He was on Fox News a couple times. Why shouldn't he be the governor? He says we should bring down property taxes immediately, eventually down to zero. And the issue is that obviously the government needs money. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna come up with new fines and fees and nickel and diming the crap out of you for every single thing, and cutting services and more sales tax and maybe a higher flat tax. The taxes still have to be paid. Their concern is making sure that their donors aren't the ones paying for it. Brett, what do you think?
So I have a slight difference of opinion on this, which is like, you have to look at all the stuff that property tax pays for. Let's pick one thing: schools in your area, right?
Yeah.
Everything that property tax or any tax they want to eliminate pays for. It's not just that these guys are so rich and they want to hoard money and they don't want to give back. It's not just that. It's systematically for the Republican Party specifically. Everything that your tax dollars pay for that is not run by a private corporation, they have tagged for a future like revenue, like privatization model for that thing that they and their donors can make money off of. Schools are a great example. They don't want property taxes. They want to bankrupt your local schools so that they can say, oh, that public school sucks. It's falling apart. What we should instead do is have charter schools, which you're gonna have to pay for anyway. Yeah. But in a way that is no longer proportionate to your income level or the value you've been able to amass in your portfolio. Like, and there's all kinds of ways you can change property tax law. Like California has a vastly different property tax law than like Texas, right? We cap the assessed value growth at 1% a year, right? So I look at my assessed property tax, it's insanely high. My neighbor pays like $45 every 7 years because he bought the house in 1953. And that, like, there's ways you can offset it in the growth. And there's actually some hilarious people that are like, it's too expensive in California. I'm moving to Texas so I can have a house and it's cheaper there. But they don't cop the property tax that way. So their actual bill on the house that they paid less for is higher than mine. There's a lot of that. But really what it comes down to is what you said, they just don't want to pay any taxes. They don't want to give back to the community. They can buy everything they want, but they really do want to privatize everything that is a government run situation, not because they have some philosophical belief that leads to tyranny, but because they have this wanton greed that they can then make money off it. And does that work? Does that system work? No, it doesn't. Look nowhere further than the healthcare industry, where we have a privatized version of healthcare. Other countries have a public version of healthcare. We pay twice as much for ours and we die sooner. They pay half as much as we do and they live longer.
Yeah.
Like that system doesn't work, but they don't give a because they're gonna make money off it.
Exactly, yeah. I can't use the term, but people talk a lot about the an essification of everything over time. I'll go with that. That's what's happening to America. You let these people stay in charge and you will pay more, you will get less, things will fall apart. Everything that you use, they'll have fancy, gated communities and fancy cars and all that stuff. They're doing great. But for the rest of us, it's just, there's no investment in our lives because they don't live our lives. They don't know anything about it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk do not give a damn about, from birth to death, what happens to a peasant that they would never deign to even look at. And people need to wake up to it. Yeah, some of the specifics on the property tax, I'm not an expert on that sort of thing or whatever. And we can have conversations about how you distribute the tax burden between different stuff. But that's not what's going on here. What is going on here is that their owner donors, as Nina Turner always says, are people who have a gaping hole in them, an addiction to money. They'll never pay little enough taxes, okay? If they were being subsidized directly by the government on an individual level, it would not be enough. Donald Trump is still releasing grifty products because there will never be enough money for these people, okay? And they will set fire to every square inch of America if that's what it takes for them to have, one extra zero in an online bank account.
I think we should, you have the owner donor Nina Turner thing. You also talked about an addiction hole, which I think we should shorten to just call it a hole.
Well, you have your justice hole, actually.
I have my justice butthole. This is
I preferred the way I said it, actually.
Fair enough.
If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.